is just please like, share the show, invite somebody else in on the show. Don't be afraid to comment because we do read comments. So we're talking about what's on your checklist, and this topic actually came from the show last week when we were talking about being friend zone, and it just came up talking about sometimes our list can be so long and so not even realistic when it comes to selecting a partner. So even though it is a pandemic, people are still dating. So let's talk about what's on your checklist or what should be on your checklist. So Resolve, first of all, tell me, why do you think a checklist is important when dating?
A checklist is very important when dating because you need to know what you're going to stand for and what you're not going to stand for. There's certain things that you're going to look for, and there's certain things that you're not going to look for. So it becomes very important that we make this list. Sometimes we can go a little overboard with it and just be throwing things on there. But this is why you check the list and you check it twice and you go down the list and you get rid of some things. And so yeah, so it's very important.
I think it's important. And so again, just to piggyback off what you're saying, so you know where that relationship is going. It has some type of structure to, okay, where is this heading and how we're going to get there. So it's important to know what it is that you want, what it is, that you don't want. So when you hit those spots, to either reevaluate your list or, at some point, how many checks, do you get to where you say, okay, this is not working. Let's just be friends. So let's talk about some of the important things that should be on your checklist whenever you are dating. And what I mean by dating is like two people who are basically gathering information, they're gathering data, not necessarily sleeping together, they're not in a committed relationship. They're just basically gathering information on each other to see if this person will fit well in my world, to see if I want to pursue something, long term with this person. So I just wanted to clear that up. So here are some things that you should know that should be on your checklist. And again, everybody's checklist is going to be different. It's going to vary depending on what you look for. But this is just some of the things that should be on there. So number one is, have I healed from the trauma of past relationships, things that you have been through? And, some people haven't healed, but they're ready to move on.
You are correct on that. I have come across a lot of women who have not healed, and they're looking for a logical explanation on what went wrong in the past relationship, and they're now bringing that forth into the present relationship, and you cannot do that, because if you do that, no relationship is going to work.
I totally agree. You have to approach it by giving people a fresh start because, you're dealing with somebody totally different. The needs are different. The love language is different. And, even
Mhm.
how you interact with that person is going to be totally different. So the one thing you don't want to do is to try to, again, what I said at the beginning with the quote, is to punish somebody else because of somebody else's actions. So, yeah, be cautious, but don't let it hinder you from finding love.
That's right. And that happens a lot of times, even with a lot of women that I've dealt with, because they're so cautious that they just don't trust anybody. And I always say, don't deny the person that God sent to help you because you're caught up with what happened. We ain't worried about, what happened back then. We're trying to get to what's going to happen now. I always say timing is everything. The right person at the right place at the right time can change everything. You just got to show up.
And I think if you're at that point, if you're that cautious, then maybe you should be waiting or you should be healing from whatever it is, so that you can move forward and not, have that negative baggage trying to go into a relationship because it's not going to work.
Right. You're right. It's not going to work because there's a lot of things that comes with that baggage that hinders you from that relationship working out. And then you wonder why all the relationships keep failing. So
That's true.
I
So
agree with you on that.
So take time to process the relationship you just had. Think about, the things that happened in the relationship because I always say you're the common denominator in every relationship that you have. So if you say, yeah, that relationship failed, because of XYZ, then you were in that relationship and it really takes two. So find out, what happened in the relationship, what part you played on the relationship ending, and have you healed from that? Are you moving on bitter in your relationship, or are you moving on still ready for love?
That's right. And before we go any further, I have to put the disclaimer out there that views and opinions are those of RG Ministries, which is me. You don't have to listen to me. These are just my views and my experiences. So we just have to go, don't blame Warriors Talk or intellectual radio. So yeah.
Yeah, so it's important to make sure that you have healed from the trauma of your past relationships. And the second one is, have you broken the relationship addiction?
Hmm.
And that comes with again, you hopping from relationship to relationship and not healing.
Hmm. I'm just trying to think,
That's
how
a
does
good one.
that fit on the checklist? I mean, I understand healing,
The
but
addiction
the
part.
addiction of the addiction of relationship, like you just got to be in a relationship. And there's some who feels that way, like they got to have a man or they got to have a woman. Well, I don't know if men
But you
totally
haven't
feel
you okay, so you haven't even healed from that relationship. You just have to have somebody. It could be a piece of man. It could just somebody, just so maybe because your friends are in a relationship, so you want to be in a relationship. You see everybody on social media, so you want to be able to post somebody too. Just to say I have somebody, because you've always been in a relationship. It's just like being addicted to, a substance.
well, it is cuffing season. It is November. So tryouts was, I think, last month or so. So yeah, I can understand why everybody's trying to get into a relationship right now.
Yeah, I don't know about that couple season. Okay, so again, make sure you're getting into the relationship for the right reasons. Because you're ready. You're ready to be in a relationship, not because you're trying to get over another person. We've all heard that saying. The best way to get over somebody is to get under somebody.
Because then they become the rebound person. And we know how that turns out. You really don't commit or put your whole full self into it because you're still wearing like, aha, well, look at me now, trying to make the other person jealous. So now you have messed up the last relationship and you're probably about to screw up this relationship because you didn't heal correctly and because you're jumping from relationship to relationship, not knowing exactly what you want.
Again, you are addicted to relationships. So, and then ask yourself the question, why am I wanting to be in a relationship? Like, what's the purpose of you wanting to be in a relationship? And everybody may have a different reason. It may be for companionship, it may be because they don't want to be, they want sex and they don't want to be outside of the will of God. So they figure, I'll be married rather and in a relationship so that I could be in right standing. So everybody have different reasons. So whatever your reason is, just make sure when you move forward in a relationship that it's in a healthy way.
So you mean to tell me that there are women who get married just so they can have the one partner sexually?
That's not what I said.
Okay, that's what I thought I heard though.
Okay,
But
that's what you heard.
okay.
Okay, let me say it again. No, what I was trying to say is you don't want to be outside of the will of God. So instead of having sex outside of marriage, you go
Mhm,
ahead and get married so that you won't
mhm,
be, sinning. That's what I meant.
mhm. Okay. Uh-huh. So women don't want to commit to sin, so they say, well, let me just get married and then I can have all the sex in the world with this person.
And it's not just anybody, they
Well,
want
we
whatever
hope
that
that
one
it's not
person,
in your body, but
whatever that one person is. They say if you have that burning desire, it's better to get married than to burn. So just go ahead and get married. If you know that you can't control yourself and you're not going to control yourself, go ahead and get married.
I just wonder if people had to marry the last person that they had sex with, how many people would be happy and how many people would be unhappy?
Well, at one point in time, that person was exactly what you wanted. So, don't live in regret, you know, just don't live in regret. Just learn from what it was. Hey,
And
Shanera. Just learn from what it was. Don't live in regret, you know. And sometimes, when you have sex, you're not thinking, I'm about to be with this person long term. So, I'm going to give this person, a lot of times you're not thinking that way. You satisfying your own lust, your own desires, your own fleshly desires. You're not thinking about, um, what if I get pregnant by this person and I got to deal with this person for the rest of my life? Or, can I deal with this person for the rest of my life? A lot of times we don't think like that. Maybe once you mature, you get a little older. I don't know. Maybe you do, but
Yeah, because I think the different brackets of, your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, and 50s is the mindset and the thinking is totally different when you start making this list. Because I know as it gets older, that list gets a little bit smaller because you now matured about a lot of the things and about people, and you learned a lot of things as well. I know for, uh, whew, again, we have to talk about the disclaimer. We ain't going to get into it yet. We're not going to get into it yet. So that's number 2 is the relationship addiction.
and relationship addiction. If you are just tuning in, we're talking about what's on your checklist, and we're live on Intellectual Radio. So do me a favor, like, share the show, start a party on the show. Just get the show out, make comments. Again, we read the comments. Your opinion is very valuable
We
to
love
the
the
show.
comments here on Warriors Talk.
So we're giving you the things that you should have on your checklist when you are entering in the dating phase, not really a relationship, but the dating phase. And the first one was, have you healed from the trauma and the trauma of relationships that you have been in? And then we just finished talking about having a relationship addiction, being broken.
Now, see, my poll from the women who I spoke to, and because of course my number 3 goes into part to what I'm about to say. My number 3 is participation. We need men to participate in these relationships.
Well, this is
You,
this is the dating phase though, but they still need to participate. I agree.
they need to participate.
And when you say
They need to
participate,
show up.
what do you mean participate? Like, what should they be
Participate in the
doing?
dating phase. They need to be more consistent. If you can't be you can't be interested and inconsistent at the same time. Either you're in or you're out. Either you want to do this or you don't. What are you doing? You're wasting my time. I need you to participate. Show me who you are. Show me who you're not. One or the other. Participate. Be in it.
Be in it or move out of the way. Okay, so those were the first two, and I agree with you about showing up as your authentic self, and that leads into this one. Have you discovered yourself? Because a lot of times, we don't know what it is that we want. We don't even know who we are. We haven't taken the time to date ourselves and just to love on ourselves, but then we want someone else to do it. So have you discovered who you are before you start dating someone, so you can present yourself to someone? Find out who you are first. Buy yourself some flowers. Love on yourself. Take yourself out on a date. Go to a spa. Go out to eat to a nice restaurant. Set your
Hmm.
standards for what it is that you want and how you want to be treated. So I think that's a good one, especially for women, because a lot of times um, we kind of identify ourselves by the person that we're dating. So it's nice to know who you are before you start dating and getting into a relationship, and then you end up losing yourself, losing who you are because you're trying to please someone else.
Well, what's interesting? Can you hear me?
Yes.
I had a conversation this morning actually with a young lady, and she told me the reason why she's been distanced because she felt as though she didn't have anything to bring to the table because she's been in a very low spot in her life with things going on since the whole COVID-19. Um, she was a woman who worked hard, jobs wasn't working. One of really wasn't working out, too tough. She got kids, she don't get no assistance. So she wanted to try dating and she tried to put herself out there, but she just couldn't. So trying for her to try to rediscover herself has been a very process, especially with issues and all the things that's going on around her. So it was very hard. But I told her, as a potential team member, teammate, I need to see you in these seasons on how you react. And I don't think that closing and shutting down is the answer to what you're trying to get through. And I said, every person that you come in contact with, they are a answer. They are a key to a problem. And if you don't share the problem, then I won't be able to help you or be the answer or the key that you need to unlock whatever it is that you're going through. So again, participation. We need women and men to participate more in what's going on. You ain't got to tell me your whole business. You're going through something, say you're going through something. Let me try to give you some words of encouragement, something, but don't leave yourself in that dark place. Definitely discover yourself, because you and God know who you are. So it's no need for that. The more agony the more problems that's thrown at you, you just giving the devil a more footstool to win and take what he wants from you, accomplishing what you need to accomplish. So, yeah, I like number 3.
I think you hit on something about a lot of times women, we tend to talk too much. When we meet somebody, we tend to talk too much and we tell them so much. And then, some guys don't mean us any good, and they may be just wanting one thing and figuring out how to get there. And you done told them everything they needed to know, and then they turn around and use it on you. You talk about being insecure. The last relationship you had, the man said you were so insecure, and they'll turn around and when y'all get into it, they'll use that on you. So, you have to make sure that, you're not telling everything. As you're getting to know each other, that it will come out in time. But you don't have to tell every single thing in the one setting. Even, you're dating. So dating's supposed to, take time to get to know each other. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, Rizal, I hear that you're talking, but for some reason I cannot hear you. So, again, we're talking about what's on your checklist, and we're on number 3, which is, have you discovered yourself? And it's important that you discover yourself in a relationship or even in a dating phase, that you know who you are before you go into it, so that you won't allow somebody to dictate what it is that you're doing. Okay, I'm sorry.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. And my number 2 is definitely totally different. And again, these are the views and opinions from RG Ministries. My number 2 that women on that checklist, he can't have his he can't have his bills in his kid's name.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I think that at that some point you should be established. You should have some type of especially if you're going to be the leader in the relationship. So you should come in with some things already, in place. And I understand that people go through things and have a hard time, and you may, have went through a setback in the last relationship that you was in, that maybe things were in your name, and maybe y'all broke up, and that person messed up everything. So now you're having to, start over. So that's what communication is for.
And I had that conversation today too. Young lady said that she was dating a guy, and she knew that he was an opportunist, but she thought that he had stopped. And of course, she didn't even say that she was in love. She was hoping to grow in love, with him. And she put all this stuff, bought all this stuff for him, because as a partner, she didn't want to see him suffer, which you're not supposed to do. And I understand that. But now it screwed her up. But the one thing she said, I can always get the money back. That's not a thing. I work, I have a good job, I'm this, I'm that. But what he has taken from me, the length of time, the resources, the ambition, these things that I held close to my heart, I can't get those things back. So that's what hurt me the most. And he's and now he's doing good. And actually coming back to the first young lady, she says she's tired of building men up only to set them up for their next relationship.
And that's why it's important to, if you know what you want and that man does not have it, move on. That's the purpose of dating. And you don't just date one person at a time. Where you're dating multiple people. I did not say sleep with, but you're dating multiple people so that you can narrow it down to the person who has the majority of the things that your core things that you need. Stop trying to fix a man. That's not your job. It's not your job to try to complete a man. They should be already completed when they get to you. And that's why women are having trouble, because they're trying to raise a man who should be already whole when he gets to you. That's not your job. Now, you have wasted time. You got him ready for someone else. Is that his problem? No, that's your problem.
Mm-hmm. And the only thing the next lady is going to say, thank you. And you should have kept him when you had him. Who's that? K. Michelle that sung the song? You can't raise a, what? I think it was K. Michelle sung that song. You can't raise no man or something.
You really can't. Allow him to. His parents should have already raised him. By the time he comes to you, yeah, there may be a couple of things he may not have that he may have to do. But if you find yourself having to have a whole grocery list of things that you have to do, or you have to compromise and you have to substitute, then that's not the man for you. That's not the man for you or woman. So don't be afraid. A lot of times women are afraid to, pull back. They're afraid to fall back. They're afraid to let that egg go. Stop putting all your eggs in one basket. If you're just dating, then you date until you find out, okay, this one fits. We're on the same page, and we're compatible. And so those things should be lining up. So when y'all move forward to do things, you're not gonna have those issues. Now, if I get with you and you having so many issues, and I'm finding myself having to always help you, enable you to, no, I have kids already, and I'm not about to raise another one. I'm just not.
So, question for you: what happens if you did the dating thing, and you guys have been now dating for a while, and you're now exclusive? That's it. It's just you and him, and then finally you get to the point and you have sex. All the things check on the list, but the sex, you're not compatible when it comes to that. What do you do?
And the reason why the sex is not probably the way that you feel that it should be is because you had sex before marriage already. So if you didn't have sex before marriage, then you don't have anything to compare it to. So because you've been out there, now you feel like this person is not up to par. And so that, it messes things up. So, okay, the sex is not up to par. What is it that this person is not doing that you're used to doing? You used to being freaked a certain way. So now this person is not doing that. You should not be comparing that person to other partners that you have. Like, what is it that that person is not fulfilling? So you have to really look at it from a mature standpoint. Can I show this person what I like? Can I guide this person on what to do so that he can be fulfilled, I can be fulfilled?
Well, think about women who's been in marriages before 3, 5, 20 years, and all they know is their husband. Then they get a divorce, and now you have to relearn a person all over, and what you're used to and what he wants. I mean, like you said, it comes down to the wants and needs. But you're stubborn in your ways because you know how you were being satisfied before by your husband, but you're not with your husband, or you're not with your husband anymore. So getting to learn the person, I think that begins to frustrate some women because they feel as though that you should know what they want. And I guess that would be kind of a comparison thing. They expect you to know what they want, like right off the bat. So, sometimes you have to ask those questions like, hey, this way, that way, and then try to come to a medium upon it. But if it just don't work, sometimes it just don't work.
If this is a brand new man, I'm not going to expect you to satisfy me in the way the other guy did. For one, you don't know what that man was doing. You don't even know if he was satisfying me or not, because women, we can fake it till we make it, okay? So you don't know what he was doing. If she is with a brand new man, right? Then she shouldn't be comparing him to anybody, because what she had with the other person, that's done, that's over with. Now, the two of you, communication is so on point, especially when it comes to sex. You have to make sure that you are communicating with that person what it is that you like. You don't have to go into detail about everything that you have done with somebody else, but you tell that person what it is that you like, what it is that that person can do, and then y'all explore each other. Explore each other and block everything else out of your head that you was doing with somebody else if you can, and allow this person a chance to satisfy you. Because if that sex was so good, you would still be with that person. If the sex was so good, it would have kept you there. You would still be with that person.
But I hear a lot of women say they don't want it to just be sex. They want more than that.
It's more than that. I'm just speaking on the sex part right now because you brought that up. So if you want more than that, then you ask for what you want. Ask for what it is that you want in a relationship. In the dating phase, tell the man what it is, and don't give him everything, because what happen is he'll try to mimic and do what it is that you are telling him, and it's a facade, and it's his representative, and then he can't keep it up 6 months from now. You like, oh wow, he used to call me every day and we would talk for hours, and now he's just stopped. And it's like, because it wasn't who he was. He was not showing up as his authentic self. He was just listening to you and doing those things so that he can go to that next space with you.
That's right. And this is why, yes, I ask ladies a lot of questions. This is how I became wise and knowledgeable on a lot of things, because I had a young lady tell me, I asked her, what is it that she like in a man? She said, if I tell you what it is that I like, then you would try to be that. And I don't need you to try to be that. I need you to be you and who you are. So if you're for me and I like what it is, you wouldn't have to worry about what it is that I like in a man. You will know. I said, oh, did she hit a spot? She ran it down to me. She put me in my place.
Stop telling me and everything. So the fourth thing that you need to do when you are dating and you have your checklist ready is to make sure that you renew your mind. And we was just talking about the sex thing. You're thinking about somebody else because your last partner pleased you this way, and now you're trying to compare these two, and now you're not satisfied. Renew your mind. Start reading relationship books. Start listening to podcasts on relationships, and try to approach the relationship in a totally different way. If you keep doing the same things, and you're going to get the same results. So try something different.
Totally agree with that.
Never get to a place to where you just shut down on love altogether. I don't care how many times I get hurt, how many times my heart get broken. I'm going to always be open for love, but I'm going to move in a totally different way. You learn from each different relationship. You learn what to do, what not to do.
Because each experience is going to be different. So once that experience is over, you now have something new to take with you, to learn from, to know what you want and what you don't want, what you're going to accept, what you're not going to accept. So yeah, I think these relationships, as they call these failed relationships, they're important because it teaches a lot of things about you, how far you're willing to go, how far you're willing to hang in there, what you're going to tolerate. So yeah, I totally look at relationships different, and I appreciate all the past ones and everything that I was in before, because it's taught me a lot.
I'm kind of glad that, I didn't just like get married and was with the same person the whole time. Like, that experience is not for everybody. It's just not for everybody. I mean, it's the way that, God intended it, but for some reason, we want to do our own thing. I think that I probably would have went crazy. So I'm just, I probably would have drove myself crazy. So I'm just glad that I'm learning from each experience, and I'm not allowing it to make me bitter. I'm not allowing it to make me give up on love or have me treating people, a certain way. Lisa said failed relationships are an eye opener, and they are.
They are,
Yeah,
Lisa.
they really are. Because I mean, you look at yourself like, wow, So a lot of times we just blame ourselves, like, what did I do? We look at everything we did.
All the time.
If
And
it's
you
not
start blaming, looking for that logical reason. It'll sit you over there in the corner having a bottle of Hennessy and a box of Newports, trying to figure it all out.
a
You
lot of
don't want that.
a lot of times the relationship was just not for you. It wasn't for you. It wasn't. So, so don't even think that hey, what did I do? And you picking out everything on you. But it takes two, it takes two in a relationship to make the relationship work. And if one person is not willing for that relationship to work, then you got to move on. You have to move on. So we're talking about, if you're just tuning in, this is Warriors Talking. We're talking about what's on your checklist as it relates to dating. We're live on Intellectual Radio, and we have just given you at least 4 things that you can put on your checklist when it comes to dating. We're not talking about when you're having sex with someone. We're just talking about gathering information to determine, if you want to take this relationship further, how does this person fit into your world? So if you're listening to the show right now, even if you're listening to the replay, like, share the show out so that somebody else can get this information on the show. Um, Hey Kenya, hey Lisa, hey Shanera. So thank you guys for liking. Thank you guys for sharing the show. I appreciate it. So I wanted to kind of transition into signs of being compatible, because a lot of times we think we're compatible. And I know, Rizal, we talked about this before. Like if our horoscope signs are the same, we like, oh, we're compatible. If we went to the same school, we thinking that leads to compatibility, and it doesn't. It really doesn't.
And,
It doesn't.
oh, and to finish off my list, my number one.
Yes, what's number one? Let me hear that.
Look, views and opinions. Nah. So the number one from women, what they told me on their number one thing on their checklist, he must have all his teeth.
Okay.
I totally agree. Now, it may be a different perception from a man's point of view. She don't have her teeth, but again, this is PG-13. So on to
So if he
the
don't
other
have,
half.
okay, if he don't have his teeth, but he has insurance, then what you do, ladies, is you go and you get him some of those. You use his insurance. You make the appointment for him to get those teeth that you can screw in. They have that now. Sometimes they be like, they don't. Men are not like women to where we really care about our appearance because we trying to impress somebody else. I mean, you do have some high power men that they do care about their opinion, their appearance, but you know, he may be like, yeah, that teeth is all the way on the side. Nobody can really see it when you really can. Just be like, okay, babe, what kind of insurance you got? Let's call the dentist. Let's go and get this taken care of. You know, it's just as simple as that. A lot of times, I mean, what does that have to do with his soul? What does it have to do with the way he treats you? What does that have to do with him being consistent? Absolutely nothing. That's a preference. That's something that's so fixable. It's so easy. Like Kenya says,
But
very important
women, but
compatibility.
women be trying to impress other women.
That's just the way of the world. That's what we do. So
Like
that's
men
not gonna
don't
change.
care. Like men
That's not
don't
gonna change.
care. Women be trying to impress other women to show like, oh yeah, I got it all together, or yeah, I got it going on. You see me, and y'all just be giving stank faces and everything going on.
And it's not all women, so I'm not gonna let results talk about us like that. It's not all women. It's some women. It's some of us out here that have that confidence and that love other sisters, and we uplift our other sisters and we push them on. And it's not a negative competition, but it's more like a friendly thing. But hey, if she did it, you know what? I can do that too. Thank you for paving the way for me. Just like Kamala. Hey, I know a lot of women thinking, wow, if she did that, I can do it too. But then you do have women out here that's competing. I totally agree. I've seen it. I've dealt with it. And you know what? It's I'm about love. I'm about sharing what I know, what I do. So, we don't have to do that. We all can get it.
That's true. That's the way it should be. But unfortunately, yeah,
You know what
it
I've
falls
noticed
short.
though? I've noticed that with women, I've noticed that when you're in love and you're happy and you're in a relationship, you don't have that attitude. You don't have that stank attitude. You're not mean and you're not cruel to other women. You're not out there trying to compete with other women because you're busy, you're busy at home doing your thing with your man. I've noticed that about women when they are not in like a happy relationship, they tend to have that disposition.
Well, this is going to be another topic for another day, but there is a basketball player who I am friends with. He's a professional basketball player, and he told me, he said he couldn't marry the black woman because black women were always in competition with each other and even with him. So he ended up marrying an Asian, like an Asian woman, and hopefully that's not given too much to give it away on who he is. But he married an Asian woman because they saw things more differently and they were more so of his friend than being his competitor.
Let me tell you one thing about black men. It's not all black men, all right? Not all. All right?
I didn't say it's
Not
all black
all.
men or black
So
women.
when you hear this, I'm saying, oh, she
Just
putting
saying.
us all down. I love my black men. I love them. I love them. I love them. So it's not all black men. But just from what I observed, when they make that money and they get to that spot, they feel like for them to feel and look successful to Caucasian people, in order for them to have that success and to be looked at as successful, the white woman is the prize. She tops it off. And now, not only does he have the money and he's successful, on the top of his game, but he has the prize, which is the white woman. So, and then you don't want somebody that's going to, and it may not be all relationships with men that's that play these sports. I'm not going to say it's all of them, but you don't want that. You don't want not only the competition, but you don't want somebody that's going to challenge you. You want somebody that's going to be quiet, be like a mouse, and she's going to let you do whatever you want to do. And then it's a sister. We like, wait a minute, what you doing? I don't care how much money you're making. You are not going to be coming in this house at 5 o'clock in the morning. That's an example. So that's just from my observance. But you could be with whoever you want to be with. I don't care. If they're more to a friend to you, then do it. That's on you. I don't care about other people's preferences. Whoever you want to be with, whoever you want to love on, just do it and don't hurt anybody else in the process. Lisa said that was just his preference at the time. Exactly. But I tell you what, that's his preference at the time. But guess who he's stepping out with? Guess who on the side? The black chick. The black chick. And she's stupid for doing it. Don't do it. You can't marry me. I'm not enough for you to marry me, but I'm enough for you to sleep with me on the side. No. I mean, sisters, we have to be able to be like, no, close it up, close shop. No. But a lot of times we don't because, some people be desperate. Okay, I want to get into this compatibility.
Compatibility.
Okay, so
Okay.
here are some signs, right? You should have these. You should want your relationship to rise and not fall, right? So the first R in rise is y'all should have recreational intimacy. So it could be some type of sports that y'all like together that y'all like to watch, or you guys may like to ride motorcycles, or whatever it is that you guys like to do. There should be some type of recreational thing to do. It's not that every time you guys want to have fun, he's going his way and you going your way. It shouldn't be that way. So you
It
got to
should be
have.
something that you're doing, something that y'all should be doing together. And I totally agree with that because something has to bring y'all together. Some way, somehow, y'all had to meet. There has to be some likeness that y'all both share, that y'all both go hard for. Yes, I love that one. I love recreational intimacy. Yes.
So the R in rise is intellectual intimacy. You got to be able to sit down and talk about some things that kind of challenge you, pique your interest. Just like the election that just happened. This would have been a perfect example for you and your sweetie to sit down and talk about the election, talk about the electoral votes. Talk about the people who got elected. What plan does the president have? Like this would have been the perfect time to do that. Even reading books together, watching podcasts, like, okay, let's read this book and come back and let's discuss it. Watch the podcast. Okay, what points did you get from it? Like, help each other grow. When you're in a relationship, you should be helping that person be the best version of themselves because you guys represent each other.
Okay. Well, always, and maybe it's on there. I'm gonna wait to see, but always tell women that don't be with no man that can't show you anything. He should be able to teach you something new, and vice versa. That's what I try to tell my daughters: don't be with no man that can't teach you anything.
I agree with that. And the next R in rise is spiritual intimacy. And I'm not thinking in terms of religion, but you guys should have some type of understanding as to where we come from. Who do you go to when you're sick? Like, you should have some type of understanding about spirituality, so that that you both can come together when you need to spiritually. And sometimes we on totally different pages. He don't believe in nothing spiritual. He believe in scientific stuff, and you over here praying to Jesus. And like, what? We not even equally. Why are we even here? Like,
Why
don't come.
even together? Again, yeah. What do you have in common? What's the compatibility here? If you can't share that, yeah, spiritual intimacy is very important.
And the E in rise is emotional intimacy. You have to have somebody who, number one, because women, we are so emotional, who understands and who's going to be compassionate, not really, join in with you when you're having the pity parties, but like, babe, I understand. I get it. I hate that you feel this way. You got to be able to be emotionally available for that person.
I totally agree with that. My emotional side has really come out in the past few years or so. And I used to want to know what it meant when women say, I have to be emotionally attached to you to have sex with you or whatever. Men were just like, what do you mean? We can just wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, and keep it moving. But as time went on, I've now see what women were talking about back then. I had to be emotionally like kind of attached to you. I really had to be feeling because of the aura, the chemistry that we need to share. If I'm not feeling it between you, then more than likely sex is not going to happen between us because I'm not feeling it. It's just not there for me, no matter how much or hard we try. And I don't want to force it because it should come naturally.
Okay, I'm sorry. The S in rise is sexual intimacy. So you should have sex. You should be that really, it keeps you connected, as well as the emotional one. It keeps you connected. So stop denying. No, I'm not. I got a headache. I ain't gonna give it to him for 6 months. Okay, well, he gonna be getting it from somewhere else. Why
Yeah. Yeah. Y'all go ahead.
Why you denying yourself? Don't deny yourself. If y'all had an argument, all right, we could still be mad after we do this. Okay. You may forget what you're arguing about. So make sure that you are compatible in those areas. And if you are not in all the areas, then maybe that's something that you need to work on. Okay, babe, well, recreational, let's try something together, something to get both of us out of our comfort zone, that we can start doing this thing together. Like, you have to be willing, you have to be open to work on it. But if you don't have any of those things, or you just have one, just run. Okay, so I just gave you some information on how to look for like compatibility signs if you're compatible with a person. Compatibility is important. So here are 7 things that you should do when you are dating. So I'm gonna try to go through them really fast. And Rizal, you can just jump in at any point. Okay. So
you came prepared. Okay.
The first one is get the raw details early. Ask those hard questions early. Don't wait, until you deep in the relationship and now you want to tell him, oh, well, I really wanted this type of relationship. I want to, ask those questions, get them out of the way. During the dating phase, that's when you're supposed to be asking all of these questions. And again, eliminating people that don't fit into, what it is that you're looking for, and don't be superficial. The second one, the thing that you should be looking for when you're dating is don't be giving up everything, up front. Be modest. Be modest in what you're doing. Don't you doing all type of sex tricks, acts, it's like, I don't need to marry her. She done showed me everything. She showed me her whole hand. So be modest. Don't be giving up everything.
Don't bring out the A game just yet.
Please don't. Say something. Say something. So be exactly who you are. Be your authentic self. And if that person is gonna, love you, they're gonna love the real you. Now, if they don't know who you are, you gotta keep up this charade. You get around other people and then he like, why you acting like that? Because you're not showing up as your authentic self. Show up as who you are, and the person that's meant to love you is going to love you. I really like this one, which is get around another married couple and see how they operate. Ask them questions. Figure what it is that they regret. What would they change? So you can kind of just if y'all headed that way, you can
And
know
it's
what to
somebody
do.
who's been married for a while, not
Yes.
somebody who's just newlywed, because you get the best advice from couples on how they made it work for 18 years, 20 years. I look at a lot of the shows on the OWN network, Black Love and Put a Ring, all these different shows. Now listen to their stories on how long they've been married and how they made it work and just different things. And you'll be surprised at some of the marriages that was almost not marriages anymore because of different things. But what I appreciate about my marriage, and I can say, I can say that I didn't have like the best marriage, but I had a very good marriage. But what I appreciate about my wife, we made it work. No matter what the circumstance, we made it work. And that's what we need more of with these marriages. Make it work.
Don't be so quick to walk away. So number 5, I really like this one, and I think I'm gonna try this one. Is write a letter to your future spouse. So if you guys are dating, you decide, we're gonna make this official, then take that time to say, write a letter to that person, how you feel, where you think you're gonna be 10 years from now. And then when you're getting ready to get married, you exchange the letters the day of the wedding, and you guys sit back and you read that letter. I really like that one. I'm so mushy. I like that one.
I'm about to say, you sound all
I'm so
mushy about it.
mushy. I love that one. Number 6 that you should be doing if you are getting ready today or you're dating is take your time. There's no need to rush. I've always said take your time, but then hurry up. So it really depends on what age you are. Like I'm at age 50 right now. So if you're talking about, yeah, we're gonna date for about 5, 10 years, and I'm out. I'm just out. So I'm not doing that. Like at 50, you should know what you want. You should know by now what it is that you want. So I'm not saying we got to get married tomorrow or in 6 months, but at some point in time, you should know what you want. Because it takes, well, for men, they said men fall in love quicker. Men fall in love quicker. It takes men, this is according to a study, it takes men, I think they said, it takes men less than 3 months to fall in love. It takes women 6 months, right? Because we looking at, oh, how does he fit in my world? We're looking at all these other things, but men will not admit it. They'll wait to admit that they fall in love quicker than women. So take your time and hurry up. So the number 7 is prepare to mourn your singleness. If you decide that this is going to be your partner, then take time to be like, oh God, I'm done with that. Mourn it and move on. And don't look back. Just keep going. So there you have it, you guys. Wow. And realize that relationship takes work. So if you want to be in a relationship, then know that it takes work. Know that you're going to be putting somebody else's needs before yours. You're going to be working through some challenges, and you have to be at a point to where you're not looking for someone to complete you, but you're looking at somebody who's going to be compatible with you, and who's going to be there in all those areas and not give up on you because superficial things are not working out. And understand that communication is oxygen in a relationship, and if you don't have that, then you really don't have a relationship. If you're not my best friend and I just can't tell you things, I'm afraid to talk to you, no, I shouldn't be talking to somebody else. I shouldn't be opening up to someone else when when you're my man and you're telling me you love me. We got to make it work. So yeah, so my next marriage is going to be my last marriage, you guys. I'm doing the work.
Yes.
I'm doing my work so that when I'm ready, we're gonna work that thing out. So Rizal, give me some words of wisdom.
Words of wisdom. Let's see. And I've been sitting here thinking about it. And it just dawned on me that men and women should not be like the mountain.
What does that mean?
And What does that mean? Well, think about it. A mountain doesn't move. You're stuck. It's stuck in this. One thing about a mountain doesn't grow. So if you're going to be anything, be like the mustard seed. The mustard seed has so much potential and so much growth with it. So just put your faith in the mustard seed, and you can't move the mountain. The mountain is not going to grow. You can't grow with it. So don't be like the mountain. Don't be stubborn. Get rid of that ego. Get rid of that pride. Don't be stuck like the mountain.
I like that. Those are some awesome words of wisdom. So, you guys, I'll leave with you with this. For those of you who are still tuning in, make sure you have already liked and shared the show. I appreciate your comments. My words of wisdom are: before you can enter a relationship with someone else, make sure the relationship with yourself is where it needs to be. So, join me next Monday right here on Intellectual Radio at 6 p.m. As always, thank you for tuning in to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell, where we are changing lives one warrior at a time.
Thank you for listening to this week's edition of Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell. To find out more about Warriors Talk, follow at Warriors Talk, the number 1, on all social media outlets, and Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell on YouTube. Please join us next week and every Monday evening at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time on IntellectualRadio.com for Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell, where we encourage, educate, and empower you into action.